Welcome back to my channel for this week's Human Design Transit Report, where we follow the path of the sun and the earth around the human design mandala and look at other important alignments. I'm Maggie Ostara. I'm delighted that you're here. I'm a human design expert and the creator of the 8 pillars of feminine sovereignty, and I can't wait to dive into this week's transit report. Here we go. So today, on Monday, August 5th, the sun is going to move into the gate 7, which is known as the chief of staff or collaboration. And the earth is going to move into the gate 13, the gate of the listener or narrative. Both of these are on the G center, and we're going to dive into them more specifically in a moment. But first, let's take a look at what's happening with Mercury, because today, Mercury goes retrograde for the next few weeks. So Mercury is going to be retrograde from August 5th today through the 28th, which is a little bit longer than it usually is. And it's going to start in the gate 59. So as of today, Mercury's in the gate 59, then it's going to retrograde back into the gate 29 on August 14th, and then retrograde into the gate 4 on August 22nd. Now, I talked about this particular retrograde cycle for Mercury to some extent in the major themes video for the month of August. So you can go and watch that major themes, and I would highly recommend that you watch it anyway, just to give you a context for the whole month. But go ahead and watch that, and I will walk through the different gates in that particular video. I will also talk a little bit more about the 59 right now, because that's where Mercury is, and that's where Mercury is going retrograde. So let's take a look at Mercury's longer journey through the gate 59. Now, usually Mercury only spends about 5 or 6 days in one of the gates in the human design system. But here you can see Mercury is going to be in the gate 59, moved into it on July 26th, retrogrades on the 5th. So even that is a little bit longer, but then it's going to retrograde and still be in it until the 14th. And so that's another 9 days. So what happens with the planets when they're going to go retrograde is that they slow down, right? And then they station, and then they appear. They don't actually go backwards, but they appear to go backwards. So today, on August 5th, is the day that Mercury is actually stationing and turning retrograde. So Mercury's been slowing down, which is why I spent more time in the 59 than usual, slowing down to pause and then turn around and look as if it's going back, and then it'll be there for 9 days. So when we have a retrograde like this with any of the planets, the period that they spend in the gates is longer, not just because they turn around and go back, but also because they slow down and station and then turn around and go back. Now, Mercury isn't going to station very long because Mercury is a fast moving planet. But when you get, Pluto or Neptune or something coming into retrograde, they'll move in and they go slow, and then they station and slow back the other way. And that really extends their period of time in that particular gate. So the gate 59 is known as sexuality in traditional human design, or sustainability in quantum human design. So what does that mean? So the 59 is on the sacral center. It is primary life force energy. So when we're looking at what's happening with the gate 59, we know it's primary life force energy. And yes, life force energy is sexual energy, but it's not only sexual energy. And sexual energy can be used for lots of different things, not just for the act of sex. So it's important for us to get that this powerful life force energy, yes, it can express that way. And in traditional human design, that whole channel is known as the channel of mating, or the channel of love and war, or the channel of providing, because this is what the place where we provide for members of the tribe, particularly our youngers and our elders. And so it is an energy for providing for. And I think sustainability in quantum human design is pointing to that providing part. And the question that we need to ask ourselves is, are we providing in ways that are sustainable? And with life force energy, the sacral center is known in human design for being a kind of inexhaustible engine, inexhaustible motor, just tons of energy. I agree that that's true. And at the same time, anyone can burn out, even if you have that sacral center defined. I have more than once. I've talked to many people who have. So given our lifestyles and our conditioning, we absolutely can drain our energy out of that sacral center and not be sustainable. So part of what we're being called to do is really take a look at, are we being sustainable in the ways that we're using our life force energy, right? Or are we depleting ourselves? Are we staying up too late? Are we getting up too early? Are we not getting enough rest? Are we eating foods that are draining us? Are we having conversations and being in relationships that are draining our energy, right? Because conflict energy, which unfortunately there's an increasing amount of conflict energy in the collective right now. And so even when we engage in that conflict energy, that can be very draining to our system. So you really want to be looking at your energy management. How are you using your energy? And is it something that you're going to be able to continue to use over time, or using it in such a way that you're going to be exhausted? Or are you already exhausted? And how can you change the way that you're using your energy if you are exhausted? How can you restore yourself, replenish yourself, rebuild your energy so that you do have that really vibrant quality? And I would say in this case, it's not just about being sustainable, it's about regenerating. And in our world today, we're moving a lot from the conversation around sustainability to recognizing that our ecosystems and also our bodies, because we mirror the ecosystems of the living world, because we actually are an ecosystem of the living world, right? Is that we don't want to just sustain at the level that we're at. Like if we're already exhausted, you don't want to sustain yourself at the level of exhaustion, right? You want to regenerate yourself. That's why the subtitle of my book, Feminine Sovereignty, is the 8 pillars for regenerating ourselves and our world, because very many of us need regeneration. I've needed regeneration more than once in the course of my life to really take time to replenish. So if you're feeling tired, if you've been feeling pulled in multiple directions, if things are just a little chaotic, and if you're, feeling depleted, this is a really good time for you to be taking another look at how you are stewarding your energy. And do you need to make some changes? Because most of us do, frankly, most of us do. And I always recommend, you probably have heard this from me before, but to do powerful energy practices that can help rebuild your energy. Which is why in our Becoming Sovereign Quantum Retreat Center, there are a number of different videos and event replays for Kundalini Yoga, because this is a way that we can really learn to build and harness and direct our energy. Then in the Sovereign Sisterhood, which is just opening, there's a series of training videos about Kundalini Yoga that help give you the foundation you need to be using this ancient, highly effective practice, have been used by literally billions of people around the world, to be able to be using this powerful energy to help you to restore yourself, to regenerate yourself. So take advantage of that. And there are also some videos here on my YouTube channel. You can just look for Kundalini Yoga playlist or gifts from my audience. And there's definitely Kriyas there that you can access right away. So Mercury, during this cycle that we're in right now, is really shining that light on that 59. And taking another look is, how are you utilizing your energy? And do you need to regenerate yourself? Is what you're doing something that you're going to be able to sustain over the long term? Do you need to make any adjustments? And if so, what would those be? So today the sun moves into the gate 7, and the gate 7 is on the G center. So the G center is the diamond right in the heart. It is the heart. And it would be yellow in your chart if you had it defined in your chart. I have it defined in my chart. And so this is the center for love and lovability, identity, and direction in life. And both of the two sun and earth gates that we have this transit are both on the G center. So we've got the 7, but then we also have the 13. So we'll be talking about the 13 in just a minute, but let's talk a little bit more about the G center. So the G center is a beautiful center, and it is connected to the will center, which is the other part of the heart. According to the lore of human design, the G center and the will center split into two at the end of the 18th century. And we are actually in a new cycle right now. We're completing the cycle of the one that brought that into being, and we're about to move into another one starting in 2027, although we're already moving there. But just to say, we're back around the spiral to the same place astrologically of what's happening. Is part of the reason things are really intense these days. So the G center, like I said, is the center for love and lovability, identity, and direction. So it's the identity center. It's about the self, right? And it's often about how we express ourselves and how we show up in the world. And for the 7 is about how do we engage with other people and how do we work together effectively. Now, in traditional human design, the 7 is kind of known as the chief of staff, the person who knows everything that's going on behind the scenes, supporting the president, right? Because it's the channel of the alpha. And that was the way that it was originally formulated when human design was brought in. Now, we're evolving that because we're recognizing now that we really have a need to revamp and regenerate our democratic structures. And there's a lot of conversation about this going on right now because we're seeing the limitations, certainly here in the United States, but also in other parts of the world, of the way that our democracies have been constructed. Now, here in the United States, we don't actually have a democracy. We have a democratic republic. And I think sometimes people forget that and they keep complaining it's not a democracy. And I'm like, well, never was a democracy. There's an element of democracy in the sense that we do vote on different levels for our representatives of government. Absolutely. But it's inside of a republic, a structure, not a democratic structure. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole anymore. But just to say, there is a lot of awareness about how people have been historically left outside of democracies, right? Have been excluded from our democratic republic, certainly here in the United States. There's a lot of conflict energy around who gets to be included and who doesn't get to be included right now. And so if you're one of those people who's really in the political sphere, I encourage you as much as you can not to be fueling that conflict energy. I know it's hard because it's all kind of set up that way and the media really fuels it. You know, it's the fight for this and the fight for that. And we're fighting those people and fighting those people. And I get the appeal of that. But conflict energy is actually really detrimental to us and to other people. So part of our evolutionary process is to move out of those kind of hierarchical structures, right, into more collaboration. And in order to move into collaboration, we have to move out of conflict energy. So as the sun is lighting up the 7, the sun is really saying, how can we work together, people? Right? How can we do this? Right? How can we do this from our hearts, our heart energy, when we are really feeling into the value of compassion and connection and collaboration, cooperation, right? All of those things. When we're really feeling into that, how can we work together more effectively? So the gate 7 is also in the logic circuit or the pattern circuit. And so this is part of the energy to be able to see the big picture. It's part of collective circuitry. So we're looking at the big structures, right? Which is why we think of this 7 as being the support for more of the new world leader or the democratic leader, right? Which we have said was the president before, right? But of course, democratic leaders operate at all different levels of society, right? So we want to be fueling and supporting our democratic leaders and those of us stepping into leadership as we're bringing in more powerfully the new world world that we're longing for. And when I say the new world, I mean a world that is not based in conflict energy. It's not based in extractive practices, which is what's really harming our earth and harming each other, that are not based in exploitative, profit-driven forces that don't care either about people or other living beings, whether they're animals or, the plants and the minerals and the oceans and all of that, right? So we're evolving out of systems that rely on consumerism, that rely on power over structures, into a sense of how are we all in this together, and what do we need to grow inside ourselves so that we can actually really collaborate in a way that works for all of us. I view collaboration so incredibly importantly that it's actually pillar number 7 of my book on feminine sovereignty. Pillar number 7 is mutually beneficial collaborations. And I named it that because too often in the past, collaborations have not been mutually beneficial, right? One or some set of partners has been able to manipulate or control the situation to their own benefit and to the detriment of others. So we want to make sure as we're leaning into this energy of collaboration, that we're doing it with the spirit that we want it to work for everybody. We don't want it to be something where other people or the living world are going to suffer based on the collaborations that we create. I know that's a tall order because we live in a world where a lot of things that we do are detrimental to our environment and detrimental to other people. So don't get overwhelmed by this. Like pick something that you feel you can engage with, whether that's a conversation with a person, whether it's talking to people who you are co-creating a project with, whether it's you working, taking a look inside your own self and asking you, what are the challenges that you experience to collaboration and how do you grow yourself through those? I need to do that. I have so much individual circuitry that actually collaboration is something I've really had to grow inside myself. It doesn't come to me as naturally as it comes to some other people. And yet I really do enjoy it. I'm really glad to do it, but it's not kind of more my default, even though I have the 7 defined in my chart, ironically. Right. So just goes to show, right? And I just have learned like that it's worth it to be growing myself in that direction because I see the writing on the wall that this is really what we need to be doing here as a common humanity at this time. So as the sun moves into the gate 7, the earth is going to move into the gate 13, which is also on the G center. As I said, it's also collective circuitry, but this one is in the sensing circuit. So the sensing circuit is right-brained energy. It's creative, it's expansive, it's experiential, it's embodied. And so it's very different at quality of energy than the 7, which would be more analytical, more strategic, more planning, more linear, that sort of thing, more focal, right? Because it's left brain energy. And so with this, it's much near, and one of the qualities of the sensing circuit are 3 different storytelling gates. And this is one of the storytelling gates. So this one is known as the listener in traditional human design or the narrative in quantum human design. And very often with people who have this defined in their charts, they find that other people like to come and confess to them. They like to come and tell them their story because there's this sense of being the listener, of being able to receive that. So when people do that, it's great when you can receive their story. And this may be happening during this transit, right? And to be able to hold it and honor it with so much love and care, right? When people share something with you, maybe they've never told anybody or they haven't told anybody in a really long time, right? You want to be able to ground yourself in really honoring and caring for that person's story. And then ideally, if it strikes you that this would be beneficial, is to help them reframe maybe some of the ways they've told their stories. Now, we're going to get some more support from this from Lionsgate, which is actually happening at the same time. And I'm going to talk about that more in a minute, because that really is also an opportunity for us to kind of step into the fullness of who we are, the fullness of our truth, and to be able to embrace all of the experience that we've had, all of the different challenges that we've had and the triumphs that we've had, but to be able to do that in a way where we empower ourselves through that personal story, that personal understanding of our history. So having the Earth and the Gate 13 is actually super beneficial for that. So during the period of the Lion's Gate, and this particular transit part of it, this is really a boost for you to be taking a look at, okay, how am I holding my personal narrative, right? How am I holding my personal story? And then how am I doing that with others? And how are others asking me to do that for them? And who are you maybe going to and asking to hold your story? This is a beautiful way for us to be doing that. And so I feel in terms of stepping out of the conflict energy that I was talking about, that's really strong in the collective these days, anywhere from people just, kind of sparring on social media to full scale war, or political posturing, right? We see it on many levels of society. As we step out of that, if we can be more vulnerable and transparent with our stories in a way where we drop our defenses and our finger pointing and our judgments, and we're just like, I'm just standing in what's true for me. And if we can come into collaborations from that place, our collaborations will develop completely differently. Right? Can you imagine that? If we all came in with the intention that we had mutually beneficial collaborations to start out with, but then we also came in with a kind of sense of self-care and self-awareness that we weren't trying to posture, we weren't trying to position ourselves against other people and get the most that we possibly can. That isn't what we're doing. We're here to be vulnerable and transparent and authentic and to show up and say, hey, I can witness and receive you in your vulnerability as well. And how do we communicate, right, with each other while we're doing that, recognizing that we're really all in this together. So right now, during this transit, we are in the window of the Lion's Gate. So the Lion's Gate goes from July 28th all the way through August 12th, but it's at its peak on the 8th. It's always known as 8/8 is the Lion's Gate, but it actually has a longer period than that. It's just that it builds up to the 8 and then it closes. And it's known as a portal that opens during Leo season when the Earth and Sirius and Orion align in that sign of Leo. So that's what it is technically, right? And during this time, Leo is such an expressive and regal and powerful energy, right? My dad was a Leo. Leos love to be, the center of attention. They can tend towards narcissism sometimes, that they really like to be seen. They're like, see me, So this is part of the quality, right? But it also has courage. It's also sovereign energy. There's a lot of different elements to that. But during this time, stepping into your power, as I said a minute ago, is right. Honoring all the different versions of yourself, right? And honoring how everything you've been through has helped to make you who you are now. Now, there's many people who do a lot more with Lionsgate. I encourage you to go and check out some of the other videos here. I wanted to just show you this one picture. This is an ancient picture of Lionsgate, right? There's a number of different places in the ancient world where people were recognizing Lionsgate, and they actually created physical gates that had lions on them. So what I would suggest for you, like I said, if you're curious about this, go do some more research, because I wouldn't consider myself an expert on Lionsgate. But I do think that it is something that is worth checking out, because we're in such a potent time anyway right now around self-expression, around breaking the bonds of the old world. This is a lot of what the alignments and of the outer planets are beaming down to us right now, is how we're breaking out of the old conditioning. And that sovereign energy, that power energy, that regal energy of Leo can help us do that, right? It can help us to step more into our individuality and really honor who we are and what it is that we have to bring out into the world. Then I'm excited to let you know that the Sovereign Sisterhood is now open. So this is a new community that we are seeding inside of the Becoming Sovereign Quantum Retreat Center. And it is a focused opportunity for us to really grow together and in community. And it is more than just content that's in there. There is content. There's curated courses on human design types and authorities and strategies and intuition by design. We'll be adding more curated courses on the G Center and throats and other aspects of human design. There's also resources in there about feminine sovereignty. And there will be a feminine sovereignty book club based on my book that'll start in September. And, there's a variety of other things in there, just a lot of different content, which is just meant to be providing resources for you to use if and when you will. But the main event really is how we're going to be dialing into a particular theme every month together and working with it in different ways. So our theme for the month of August is transforming your life with human design. And you actually receive as a bonus my 75-page ebook, Transform Your Life with Human Design, and the Deep Dive Journal, which is a $97 value. And it's yours for free when you join the Sovereign Sisterhood this month. And we're going to walk through some of the elements of that. And you're going to get to do an energetic practice and a creative practice with some aspect of your human design that you've really been curious about, or you feel like you've been struggling with, whatever that might be. And we're going to carry that through. You're going to get to talk to other sisters in pods. And also we're going to do open Q&A and coaching. So there's a variety of different things that'll be happening over the course of the month. And this is really like our seed month for this Sovereign Sisterhood. And in September, we're going to start cycling through the major topics of human design, but not just with human design. So in September, for example, we're going to take a look at co-creating with the flow of life based in the human design types and strategies, and to go deeper with these and to be able to have conversation and to work with each other about them. So co-creating with the flow of life is pillar number 1 of feminine sovereignty, and human design plays a key role there. But it's not the only thing, because we also want to be looking at, how do we get hooked up with our spiritual connection? How do we raise our frequency and so on? Which is why, again, I work with Kundalini Yoga, and we're going to work with intentional creativity as well. And then we're going to continue to cycle through some of the key themes from feminine sovereignty and the fundamental from human design, all with the intention of you being able to take this into your life, really apply it, and then be able to have a supportive community that where you can express yourself. Again, we were just talking about expressing yourself, where you can express yourself, you can be seen and witnessed and heard, and also you can provide that kind of support to others as well. So this is what awaits you in the Sovereign Sisterhood. If you register now before August 15th, you will receive a free month. And then when you make your first payment, you will also receive our Activate Your Superpowers Understanding Human Design program, which is a $497 value. And that's something that's going to come to you as a bonus when you make your first payment for the Sovereign Sisterhood, which is only $37 if you decide to join as a founding member. And it'll be that for as long as you want to participate. Okay, so the link is down below, and I would love, love, love to see you there. All right, that's our transit report for this month. Take good care of yourself, take care of other people, take a look at where, your conditioning might be getting stimulated. Take another look. Remember to have awareness and move through the world as much as you can with compassion and kindness, because there's so much going on right now. This is one of the ways that any one of us can participate in the healing and upliftment of our world. Many blessings, much love. Bye for now.